Hey YouTube, welcome to Sunkerns Lab. Today I have an OU battle on Pokemon Showdown. Before I get into the battle though, I want to just have a quick little discussion. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. And I'll probably have some pictures up on the screen so you guys can see. I'll have some imagery for what I'm talking about here. And for those of you who don't know, there has been some pretty crazy news regarding Pokemon over the last weekend or so. Most of it was revealed, I believe, at E3. And there's a ton of news, and I don't really want to get into it all. I just want to discuss one little topic here, and that is the addition of the fairy typing to the game. And it's a big deal for me as a competitive battler. Of course, there's going to be new Pokemon, and plenty of Pokemon were revealed, but I'm not going to get into that because, as far as I'm concerned, that's not a big deal for me as a competitive player because I already knew that was coming. But for a new type to be revealed, that's a big deal, and also the way that the type is probably going to affect the metagame is an even bigger deal because apparently, well, definitely the fairy type is super effective against dragon, and though this has not been confirmed, many people are saying and speculating that it's also going to resist dragon as well, which is a very, very big deal because currently steel is the only typing to resist dragon, and obviously that's the reason why dragon types are so prevalent in the upper tiers such as OU and Uber, because there's only one type that resists their main stab moves. So that definitely could be a big deal to the metagame. So that's basically all I wanted to talk about, just basically give my 2 cents on that. I'm pretty excited to see how it affects the metagame, and also I also really want to see all of the resistances and weaknesses that it has upon release date. So obviously we will discuss that more as it closes in, but that's all. I don't want to get too much into that because I could probably talk for an hour on one little subject. So anyway, I'm getting right into the battle. Today I'm using a team that I haven't used in a very well. This battle is wow, can't use my words. In this battle, I'm using a team that I haven't used in probably about a month and a half, and this battle is probably about that old. Haven't really been playing Pokemon too much lately, but hopefully the new Pokemon X and Y stuff will reopen an interest for me. But anyway, my opponent's team is pretty threatening. I see that he has a Haxorus, which could be a big problem. If he gets up 2 Dragon Dances somehow, I probably could get swept easily. And he also has a Reuniclus, which I'm basically fearing that thing to be a Trick Room set, so I definitely don't want to let that thing set up on me too much, because if my Jirachi gets low, then I probably won't be able to handle that too well with the rest of my team. But other than that, I'm predicting him to probably want to lead off with his Jolteon just to go for the Volt Switch straight off and get some momentum, because that seems to be his most optimal lead. So I'm going to lead with my Jirachi, and my main goal is to set up my Stealth Rocks first turn, get some damage on things like that Gyarados. But unfortunately he does lead with his Tentacool, and goes for the knockoff on the first turn. Knocks off my leftovers. I don't see knockoff often on Tentacruel, but it definitely is a viable option considering that it gets rid of things like leftovers and Life Orb from some big threats. But anyway, I go for the Body Slam a second time, end up paralyzing him this time, and he gets up a layer of Toxic Spikes. Now I could have started going for the Iron Head to flinch him, but I wanted him to actually get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes, and I needed to get my rocks up, so it kind of was a win-win situation. And the reason why I wanted him to get up 2 layers of Toxic Spikes is because the majority of my team does not want to stay in for more than 1 turn. So as long as I don't stay in for more than 1 turn, I'm only going to be taking 6% from the Toxic Spikes rather than the 12% that I would take from 1 layer. So that's why I wanted him to set up 2 layers. But anyway, I'm basically just going to hack this guy to death. I'm pretty sure that I just flinched him 5 times in a row with a paralysis, and then finish him off with 1 more Iron Head. So haxing a Tentacruel straight from full health, basically. Now, he does go into his Reuniclus. I don't know why he would go into that on a Jirachi. However, I really can't risk him having some strange hidden power fire or something like that, so I decided to go into my Politoed, and basically I just want to get the Perish Song up, make it so that he can't stay in for too long, and it actually works out for me because he has Energy Ball, it doesn't kill me, and I can go for Protect on the next turn, waste another turn of Trick Room, and force him to switch out. Now, I was actually predicting him to switch out right now into his Haxorus so that he could go for the EQ on my incoming Jirachi, so I decided to stay in rather than switch out and go for the Scald. But it turns out he goes into his Jolteon, which works out even better for me. Even though I don't get a burn, I am able to actually 2-hit KO it with the Rain Boosted Scald. thanks to the Trick Room, I'm actually faster because my Politoed is slower. So his Jolteon basically goes down for nothing, and my Politoed also goes down to the Perish Song. I would have went down to the Toxic anyway. So on the double down, I decided to go into my Jolteon, get some Volt Switch momentum, and he goes into his Haxorus. And I was basically predicting this thing to set up on me, but it turns out his Haxorus is Scarfed, so that was pretty scary and threw me off guard. But since he locked himself into Earthquake, I am able to get a free switch into my Tornadus and just go straight for a Hurricane. He brings in his Scrafty, Fathers it out. It seems like that's probably his best bet because most of on my team really can deal with Scrafty anyway. Then he brings in his Reuniclus, and I get yet another Haxy situation going on for me. Get the Confusion with the Hurricane, and he hits himself in Confusion. Now he goes into his Haxorus. I know it's Scarfed, and I know he has to lock himself into Outrage if he wants to be able to take out my Tornadus. So I'm going to go for the safe switch into my Jirachi. I know I can take probably about 4 or 5 of these things, especially if I want to Wish, Protect, and whatnot. But I decided to instead to go for the Body Slam. And then on the next turn, I decided to go for another Body Slam, predicting him to switch out into his Gyarados. And I do end up predicting correctly. And furthermore, I get the Paralysis, but unfortunately he has a Lumberry. So it doesn't last, but it doesn't really matter at this point because even with the Moxie boost, he has a Lumberry, so I know he's not Scarfed. Even though Moxie Gyarados is threatening, I can't outspeed him and OKO him with my Specs Tornadus and finish up the match on the next turn with yet another Specs Hurricane. So that's going to be the match. Pretty straightforward. It wasn't really the most difficult match in the world, but you know, I wanted to talk about that stuff at the beginning because I think it's pretty important. And yeah, if you have any comments or ideas about the possible fairy typing, what you think it might resist and whatnot, feel free to leave it in the comments as a trash truck goes by my house. So if you can hear the trash truck, give the video a thumbs up. If you can't, give it a thumbs up anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.